Yay, everyone say hello.
Hi, listen.
Okay, it's just you guys listening to it anyway. Because everyone's here. Shh. So, we're going to talk about geometry vocabulary. I'm going to attempt to not write in all caps. No, I'm not going to. So, the number of square units needed to cover a given surface. We call that area.
No way. That's cool.
So, area is the number of square units. It could be feet. It could be square inches. It could be square yards, square miles. Like Felicity when she finally gets her ranch. And she's talking 150 square miles of ranch. It's just easier for her. She's like going,
Yeah, how much that would cost?
That's right. She's going to make all kinds of cash.
Yeah.
She's going to have like 3 houses on it. Her primary residence, her vacation residence, and her leave me alone residence.
Yes. That's a good point.
Okay. A side of a polygon, a face of a 3-dimensional figure by which the figure is measured. We talked about it before. In fact, when we went to the rectangle, we knew that the base could become the face. The rectangular prism, it's the base.
What's the base?
Base is what we use. Think about a triangular prism. We talked about that already, right? The triangle is the base. Does that make sense? We talked about a square pyramid. The square is the base. Cube is no use because every face can be a base. It's just useless. In fact, we just make you go all day until you can point out the real base. Okay, the distance around a circle. Around a circle. And long ago, somebody showed me this. So you make a circle. The distance around the circle is the circumference.
Oh wait, because it looks like a C.
Very good.
Whoa.
So the distance around a circle is the circumference. Notice it's a big C, right?
Yes. Yes.
See.
So that's circumference. We're gonna get, we'll get to the other ones, and I'll add more to my little circle there, because it kind of makes its own working aid. So a 3-dimensional figure that has one vertex and one circular base. Somebody hold up a figure that has one vertex, meaning a point, and a circular base. Congratulations. What's it called? A cone.
Whoa.
Wait, is that the only one?
That's the only one. Only a cone has one vertex, which means it comes to one point and a circular base. A pyramid has a vertex, but the base is either a triangle or a square, or it can get just crazy. When Lexi becomes the pharaoh of all the world, she will make a pyramid with 26 sides.
What?
Just because she can force you slaves to do it.
Oh. Not me.
World domination for Lexi.
Everyone be nice to Lexi.
So a 3-dimensional figure,
I don't know about that.
what does the word congruent mean?
See?
I don't have that one on here.
It's the same as.
Congruent means the same. This is,
Cylinder.
it's a cylinder. It has 2 congruent bases that are circles. So it's a cylinder. It's a cylinder. Everyone's watching the video going, I can't see those things they're holding.
What is it? I want to see what it is. Okay, that's a cylinder.
That's a cylinder.
It's also over there.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, world.
I got that cool, somebody gave me some money at the teacher store one Christmas, and I went and bought that. So, what's a line segment that passes through the center of a circle and has endpoints on the circle? Well, let's go back to our circle. Notice it passes through the center of the circle and has endpoints on the outside of the circle. What letter is this right here?
A D.
A D. It's the diameter. It passes through. It tells us how wide is the circle. The sphere, actually hold up the hemisphere, the circle out, so everyone can see the circle side.
No, the circle.
The circle side. There you go. So that one, around its circumference, if you draw from top to bottom, you get the diameter. Okay? So, what is the flat surface of a polygon called?
Point.
Face, not point. I'm pointing at my face.
Oh, a face.
It's called a face. Remember we talked about that rectangular prism? He can magically turn his base into a face. Or turn his face into a base. He's a magician. And he gets paid for that, right?
Yeah.
Did you get paid for that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you made some monetary gain there? If you keep saving up those pennies, man, 2 pennies, you're at 1/50th of a dollar.
You'll be able to throw them at people.
Someone
Okay.
knock.
What do we call the
Someone knock.
what do we call the distance around a polygon? What does the phrase polygon mean? Somebody hold up the prisms, your prisms. Now hold up, so show us your bases. So a polygon is any shape. The distance around the polygon is called the perimeter. It's called the perimeter. If you got in trouble in athletics, would you rather run the circumference of the circle, which is the perimeter, or the diameter of the circle? Why?
Straight down.
Would you rather run the perimeter of the football field or across the football field? Because the perimeter is all the way around, right? You start at one point, you run all the way around. When we deal with perimeter, it's side plus side plus side plus side if you're in a rectangle, right? A polyhedron that has 2 congruent polygon-shaped bases and the other faces that are all parallelograms. I got a bunch of them out here.
Prism.
A prism.
Whoa.
So you could have a triangular prism. A triangular prism, make sure I'm still up there. A triangular prism has a triangle as its base and the other sides as the faces. That's my triangular prism. The triangle is the base, right?
I can do that too.
Very good. You can't, not with that hemisphere you can't.
I was saying I could draw that.
Good.
And my circle.
We're going to go through a lot of these, and she says I can draw that. We're going to be drawing both the shapes and the nets of the shapes. Tomorrow you'll get to make your own nets and give them a name.
With what, paper?
Yes. So, a line segment with one endpoint at the center of the circle and the other endpoints on the circle. Right there, right? That is on the, we call that the radius. If you kind of look, it kind of makes a little R there. The radius. Now, here's one of those cool things. 2 times the radius equals the diameter. So if you have a diameter and they say what's the radius, all you've got to do is divide it by 2. If they give you the radius and say what's the diameter, what do you got to do? Times it by 2. You're going to have, you'll be amazed. There'll be a question saying, what's the radius of the circle? And the next question, like, what's the diameter of the circle? Well, if you got the one, all you got to do is multiply by 2, and now you got the second one, right? Those are going to be your favorite questions. Except some of you are going to think they're trying to trick you. Okay, a polyhedron whose bases are rectangles and whose other faces are parallelograms. Hold it up. Hold it up. Read, hold it up. What is it? Bases are rectangles and the other parallelograms are rectangles. What is it? Well, the key is actually in the name. It's a rectangular prism. Were you guys able to find your computers?
No.
Okay, which one's yours?
It's 11.
Who has 11 out here? Do me a favor, swap with him. Did you find your computer?
Yes, but it's not working.
Okay. Is it not turning on?
No, it's just not letting me in.
Okay, does it say its resources are used?
Yes.
Restart it. Joe, do you know how to restart that?
Yeah.
Okay, help him. Okay, so a three-dimensional figure with all points the same distance from the center. Who has a three-dimensional figure out here where all points are the same distance from the center? Look at your figures. Something with all the endpoints on the outside the same distance from the center. Hold it up. It's a sphere. If you go to the center of the sphere, every point on the outside is the same distance, right? Well, if I made a point, if I could open the sphere, I'll put it on the screen. If I could open this sphere and have a point right in the center, and then I could draw lines to the outside, would they all be the same length?
Yes.
It's a sphere. Oh, look, they got a sphere on the video. It's a sphere.
Oh, sphere.
SP here. SP here.
SP here. I'll buy that.
Sphere on the video, right?
So, a polyhedron whose bases are triangles and whose other faces are parallelograms. Who has one with parallelograms, meaning rectangles, on the side, but whose bases are triangles? The bunny is not one. Put the bunny down.
Who has what?
Oh, wait, what?
Who has this? There it is. What is that?
Whatever you just said.
What is it? It's a prism, right?
See,
What shape is the base?
Triangle.
So it's a triangular prism. So there's some words. You'll notice hemisphere, we're not in there, but if I said find the volume of the sphere, and then I said find the volume of a hemisphere, what's a hemisphere?
Half a sphere.
Half a sphere. You just divide by 2.
Whoa.
If I gave you the radius and said what's the diameter,
Times
times 2. Does that make sense? Any questions? Any parting shots at the YouTube crowd?
2.
No.
Bye.
Bye, Lucy.
Bye.